I think it's live.
Yep, we're good. It's live.
Yay.
My hair is doing wonky things though, and it's flipping me backwards.
I think it's live.
It's flipping me backwards
Oh,
in,
yep, we're good.
oops, I should mute that. It's flipping me backwards in the live, but not in our actual image. And it has never done that before.
That's weird.
Huh? It's not flipping you backwards,
No,
just me. And just on the live stream, not on the actual Zoom. Anyway, hi.
ah,
Oh, trying to cross my legs on my seat and my pant leg got stuck under my other foot. I am a mess. She's still working on that bracelet.
yeah, still working on the bracelet.
Long one.
Well, I don't really work on it very much, so it just kind of
Still,
sits.
guess what? I finished.
When'd you finish? The shoes? The shoes are finished! Yay!
I wore them on Sunday. I really
That's
like
great.
them out.
Came
They're,
out really good.
I've got them not zipped up right now. Hold on, let me zip them up. It's It'd be a little bit hard to see because not only is the overhead light still not working in this room, and I still haven't been able to figure out why, but I've had two lamps on my desk, and then one of those has ceased to function as well. And I have not been able to find out whether that's the light bulb or not because I can't figure out how to get into the light bulb.
Yep.
Don't know how to make it come off. Anyway, so I've been working on some more resin pieces this past week. So today I am working on filing down edges of them. My resin will come out a lot better if I can ever finally finish figuring out how to get my um table level. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
We survived.
Yeah, that's a problem I constantly have too, is the level table issue. On smaller projects, it's not so noticeable, but on the like bigger projects, like my journal covers, I'm like using things under the thing and flipping it around every so often just to like keep it from being completely unlevel.
Like, I really can't figure out how to angle the light so that you can actually see any of my stuff. But
Oh, is that your
I've got like,
fairy?
yeah,
The
a
pic
little pixie. And some of my pixies will like, oh, the one I was filing down earlier, I left out there, but sometimes it'll be like one wing is thicker than the other wing, or it's like more to file down on one edge because it like what spilled over on one edge and it's like thick section, and then the other side is like barely up to where it needs to be. And my table, like the legs are adjustable, and I've been trying since I got the table to get it actually completely level, and I just can't get it 100% there yet.
It doesn't want to be level.
Nope. So what are you working on, Lisa?
Sorting my earrings. Now that I made sure I have pairs, I gotta sort them into 14 different piles.
I had been working on filing down the edges of these um last week, and of one set of these. The other set I had just made, but one set I had started working on filing down the edges, and I couldn't find my mini files, of which I only had three anyway. Like a set of three, and they're all in one case, and the case seems to have vanished. And so I was using my bead reamer, which is basically a round mini file. Um, but it's also a round mini file with a very sharp end. and I slipped, and you can't really see it very well now, but I slipped and basically ran it through the edge of my thumb right there.
Ouch.
And I was like, I think I'll wait until my new files that I ordered come before I keep going. So they came today.
Yay.
But if the sound of the filing starts to mess with the audio or whatever, let me know and I'll like mute it when I'm not talking.
Hmm.
So today we are covering
6 and 7.
chapters 6 and 7. Chapter 6 being a lot more relaying some different conversations, and chapter 7 a lot more actual action happening.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling we'll get through chapter 6 pretty quickly.
I did say last time it was a shorter chapter.
Yeah, but also it's a shorter chapter, but it's also the sort of shorter chapter that even the things that there's not a lot to say about them. So even if it had gone on longer, I don't think that we would talk about it longer, if that makes sense. So yeah, chapter 6, last words. We have the various boys getting ready to leave home again, to leave Plumfield. We'll always be home, whether it's still their home or not. We have Dan getting ready to head out, and Emil getting ready to ship off, and Nat being sponsored to go over to Europe to learn music more, sort of be a street musician and learn what he can as he travels around Europe. And Meg still does not want Nat and Daisy to be a couple. And I still don't understand Meg's mindset on that, but whatever. But she convinces Joe to have a conversation with Nat before he leaves to try to convince him to more or less to give up on Daisy, which she sort of tries to do. And that's not exactly how the conversation goes, because she's basically like, hey, you know,
I think she more just checks to see that he's going after Daisy for the right reasons rather than, you know.
but the way that she goes about it feels very snobbish. But anyway, so she Joe's talking to Nat and is basically like, you know, you're gonna head off and you might as well just it's better that you don't have any promises made, and it's better that you just go off and see if maybe once you're gone you won't still love her, and it's maybe you'll fall in love with someone else, or maybe she will, or maybe the distance will make you realize that you don't actually love each other. And he's like, do you really believe that? And he's so genuine and sincere that she cannot try to keep up a facade, and she's just like, no, I don't. And my best advice to you is to try to be the best man you can to prove to Meg once you come back. Well, to Mrs. I always forget Meg's married name.
Mrs. Brooke.
What?
Mrs. Brooke.
Brooks, thank you. I don't know why I always forget it when I'm trying to recall it. I know it when I see it, but when I'm trying to recall it, I always forget. Anyway, to prove to Mrs. Brooks that you're actually good for Meg. Um, and I mean for Daisy. And he's like, well, that's what I was planning on doing anyway, but thank you for giving me hope because I felt like you all looked down on me, and I'm glad to know that there's at least some chance that maybe I can prove myself.
That's sad that that's how Nat feels. Like everybody looks down on him.
Yes. It makes me so sad. Like they're the ones who took him in and raised him and gave him a home, and he should not have to be. I mean, some of it's his own insecurities, sure, but there's a reason that he's feeling like that too. And it's
Exactly.
because of them all trying to give deference to Meg not wanting Nat to be the one that her precious girl marries. And I mean, even with her own marriage, which her parents had a very similar reaction to, they were just like, you know what? You're going to have to wait until you're 21. And she did. And she hasn't even given a hint of like, you know, time will tell, but you're too young now. It's just, nope, he's not good enough for my daughter and he needs to go be somewhere else. And that's what's bugging me. But anyway.
Yeah, it really bothers me, Meg's reaction to Nat.
It feels so hypocritical with her own marriage.
Yeah. Sorry,
But
it is very cold in my room, so if I stutter, it's because I'm cold.
okay. It has been, for anybody watching who is from other parts of the country, in our little northeastern corner, it was extremely cold last night, and like down in the negative double digits,
Yeah.
and warmed up a decent amount today, but still like left a chill and everything. So after their conversation, um then she talks to Emil and is basically like, you know, I just wanted to have a last conversation with you before you head out, but I'm not really super worried about you because you've done this before and, you know, this is your life, this is what you do, but you are an officer now, and have you considered that that will be different from just following orders to having to follow orders from the captain while also giving orders yourself. Um, and they just have a nice little conversation about it, and he promises that he's going to, once he's a captain, he's going to name his first ship after her and have a bust of her made as what's on the front of the ship. And he said he's going to name it the Jolly Joe, and that he's going to take her on voyages with him, and he'll be able to help her see the world like she's always wanted to do and she's never had the chance to. So final conversation is with Dan, who has a lot of, he's always been the one that she worries about, and she sees so much potential in him, but doesn't know how much is going to be able to come to be. And now he's saying, you know, all this wandering I've done and stuff, and for once I wish I wasn't leaving tomorrow. I wish that I was going to be able to stay put longer. And they discuss how he seems to be maturing and reaching a point in his life where he's ready to set down roots for a change. And that maybe his desire for farming will, this next endeavor he's doing will help him have those roots. They discuss how he is tempted by some of the vices that can be found in more cities than small towns, and that it might be better for him to stick to the places in nature. and that she wants him to be able to spend time reading his Bible every day also, and not just following his own whims, essentially. And yeah, those are the three conversations. And the next day, as it ends, the next day the travelers were off and all were in good spirits, and a cloud of handkerchiefs whitened the air as they drove away in the old bus, waving their hats to everyone and kissing their hands, especially to Mother Bear, who said in her prophetic tone as she wiped her eyes when the familiar rumble died away, "I have a feeling that something is going to happen to some of them, and they will never come back to me, or will come back changed. Well, I can only say God be with my boys," and he was. So that is chapter 6, which I sort of rushed through because there's not a ton in it, in my opinion. There are a couple things I skipped, but chapter 7 has a lot more to it. It's a
Yeah, I
lot
didn't make it all the
more
way through
interesting, in my
7.
opinion.
I didn't make it all the way through 7.
What?
I did.
I didn't make it all the way through 7. So,
Well, Lisa, do you want to?
Yeah. Again, sorry for the shaky voice. So it basically, it was talking about how everybody's out and away from Plumfield, I guess. I can't remember where everybody was. They listed off a bunch of names and a bunch of places.
Scattered to various places for brief outings.
Yes.
I think the folks were at the beach house.
Yeah. So there were a few people behind Rob and Ted, being some of them, being two of them, and the dog Dawn, I guess, that was really fond of Dan, was acting really sad and lonely.
I think it's because Dan couldn't take his dog with him when he went to his job. So
Yeah,
He couldn't.
exactly.
He couldn't take the dog or his horse,
Right. So
but
the
the horse is fine.
dogs are very attached, very emotional creatures. So he was very sad and lonely. And Ted started picking on the dog, wouldn't leave the dog alone, tried to get him to go out for a walk, picking on him. And Ted told him not to leave him alone.
Rob told him not to.
Yeah, Rob told Ted to leave him alone. And then Ted had to get one last poke in. And Rob tried to stop in the way to get him to stop, and the dog had had enough and turned and bit Rob in the leg.
In an effort to bite.
Yes, in an
Yeah.
effort to bite Ted, and he was very, very remorseful that he had done so. Being bit by a dog that I love, I have seen that look. I am so sorry.
yeah, I've seen that look too.
So have I.
That they don't mean to do it. It's like a fight or flight response, and then they're like, "Whoops."
You can't
And this
blame the
kind of
dog
like
because
this kind
dogs
of
usually get plenty of warning, before they get to that point. So you can't
Mhm.
blame the dog.
Nope. The dog did give warning. He said he wanted to be left alone. Ted did not listen.
Shocking,
Um,
Ted.
um, sorry. Yeah. So Ted immediately felt bad for his brother Rob and took him in the other room to try and clean it up. But then he mentioned some sort of like
Hydrophobia.
infection.
I looked this up just to verify because I suspected from context what it was, but I'd never heard it called that. Because hydrophobia literally is a fear of water, but what he's concerned about is rabies, because
Yes,
among other things, rabies can cause a fear of water. So at the
that's
time, they
what
just
I
called it
thought.
hydrophobia.
That's what I thought he was getting at, but they said hydrophobia, which I didn't understand.
Yeah, that was my reaction too. That's why I Googled it just to make sure that I wasn't just making random assumptions.
And that kind of got them both like concerned because they had talked about getting the dog to basically the vet in case there was something wrong with him just before this all happened. Yeah. So Rob remains calm and tells him to go get Nan because she's out in like in the courtyard with a bunch of people.
I just have to insert a random thing apropos of nothing in the book whatsoever, but for some reason today, reading this, my brain suddenly decided that Nan should be pronounced Nan, and I was like, she's not bread. But I kept reading it that way, and then I was like, Nan, why am I saying Nan all of a sudden? Anyway, continue.
She was in the courtyard just being a socialite. And Teddy grabbed her. Ted, sorry, he doesn't like to be called Teddy anymore.
Yeah, well, he can deal. He can't hear you anyway.
So he grabbed her and said, "Quick, explain the situation," and brought her to the shed where I guess they're in a
Barn?
shed
Or
barn?
stables, I think. It was a barn or
Stables.
stables or something like that.
Something like that. They're in an outer building.
Because he had gone into the harness room. That part I remember.
Yeah. So it's probably the stables. And basically she said the only way I can make sure that this doesn't get infected, with them subtly avoiding the word rabies, she had to cauterize
that
his
word
wounds.
existed yet.
Well, yeah, but the term, whatever it was, and basically said she had to cauterize his wounds, which I'm glad because she kept looking at the dog, which made me think that her solution was to put the dog down, and I was about to get really, really sad.
Yeah. And due to recent events, no. Thank you.
No. Yeah, no, thank you. That would have made Karen ball. So yeah. But yeah, so they cauterize it, and then she's like, well, I'd feel better if another doctor looked at it just to make sure it was okay, because she's not a full doctor in herself yet. She's still in school, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So they pretend like nothing's happened. They go off for a drive, and basically find out that yep, she did the right thing. His leg is fine, but keep an eye out for him for any unusual behavior or actions. And then they go visit the vet. I assume they have the dog with them because they say that the dog seems fine. He's just a little bit sad. Not really sick. And then they all get back. It's late evening, and there's still people socializing and things going on, so they sneak in the back door. Basically. And at this point, everybody's feeling better and calmer and less hysterical. And yeah. I don't think, did I miss anything important in there? Up to that point.
Not up to that point. No, I was gonna say there's some more important after that.
There's more. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then it seems like a few days went by before Joe and the professor get back. Mr. Bear. It kind of seems like there was a couple days in between.
Oh, did you mention that Ted fainted?
No, I think I forgot that part.
I mean, it's minor, but it feels a little important because
yes, she had 2 patients to tend to. Yes.
Well, and Ted was always the gung ho go get, and Rob's just like, okay, tend it, and he's the one actively having the thing done, and Ted fainted.
Ted fainted.
All right.
Yes, because I remember the part about talking about having 2 patients to deal with. Yeah, and then, so they get home, and she thinks that her sons are acting a little bit weird. And this goes on for several days, where Ted is highly hyper aware of what's going on with Rob, making sure he's okay, tending to him. And, Rob is just being very somber and quiet. Um, and then eventually she confronts them like, hey, I feel like something happened. And basically they both say, yes, something did happen. It's over. We dealt with it. Um, you know, like they don't get into details. They just say, yes, something happened. It wasn't great, but we've worked through it so far and everything's mostly well.
Mostly.
Mostly well, because obviously Rob's leg is still healing at this point.
Luckily, I don't think he'll be getting a case of the rabies.
What?
Luckily, I don't think he'll be getting a case of the rabies.
No, probably not.
Maybe watch for an infection, but like, I've had a couple of dog bites, and one of them got infected, and so you gotta watch out for those.
Yeah, you do. Excuse me.
Alright.
This, I don't know if I missed anything, to be honest.
I feel like there's something else, but I'm
Oh, back on chapter 6, something that I wanted to get in the conversation about Dan and Joe having.
okay.
So they're talking and well, he mentions his gambling and his issues and how he's afraid he's gonna hurt somebody in his anger. Um, and I like how she referred to the incident with Amy. You know. Oh wait, no, that was with Ted. That was with Ted, wasn't it? Her son. I thought that was with Dan. My mind's jumping. Talking about how scared she was, and how she vowed, and my brain's losing words. Um, um, never let something like that happen again. Um,
Thinking of the part where she talks about Amy.
yes. And she refers to the time that Amy fell in the ice in less words.
I remember
I'm
the
trying not
part
to freeze
where
over
I'm
here.
I'm looking at that part right now. What
Is
she
it in
says is
7? Does she say
what?
it to Ted? I thought she said it to Dan.
No, to Ted.
Okay.
Because she's like, I know you've suffered enough, and I won't say a word. Only if harm had come to Rob, you would have made me more miserable than yourself. Oh, Teddy,
Yeah.
Teddy, you try to cure that willful spirit of yours before it's too late. And he says, oh, Mama, you try. I can never forget this. I hope it's cured me. If it hasn't, I'm afraid I ain't worth saving. And um, she says, yes, you are, my dear. I felt just so at 15 when Amy was nearly drowned, and Marmee helped me as I'll help you.
Yeah, that part. Oh no, it's broken.
I like one of the things I like about this is like the going all the way through the girls' lives and then um their children too, is that you know when Marmie's helping um Joe through a lot of that stuff, and she's like, yeah, I have dealt with anger in my life. I get far too angry, and I've had to learn how not to. And Joe's just like, what are you talking about? Like, Marmie's like the paragon of everything, and like she's not angry. And she's like, yeah, because I've learned how to control it. Um, but you don't get to see that, and then getting to see that change in Joe, and then how Joe helps her own children with it gives, I think, a pretty good idea of what Marmee was probably like growing up. And the kinds of scrapes that she probably got into, because I have a strong suspicion that Marmee was a whole lot like Joe.
Probably.
I think she said in the past that she was a lot
Yeah.
like Joe.
Although there's a degree to which I think most parents tend to look at their kids and be like, yeah, this is like me, yeah, this is like me, because that's the experience we have to relate it to. or at most, like, this is like my sibling, this is like whoever. We relate it to what we know. And, there are ways that each of my sons are like me, but overall, in personality and how their brains work, um, one of my sons is a lot more like my husband, and the other one's a lot more like my sister. Um, and I think that there are probably traits of each of the girls that they each got some of Marmee in them. But I think that in personality and general overall tendencies, I think that Marmee was probably growing up more like Jo than like any of her other girls. But as we cannot ask Louisa May Alcott for sure, I can only speculate. I have considered writing fan fiction sometime, just like exploring what Marmee was like as a child. Um, yeah, so he t he tells their father that he should be punished. And he's like, um, yes, of course, I always forgive you. Um, but the punishment has already come. I cannot give a greater punishment. Let it not be in vain. It will not with the help of the mother and the Allfather, which shows more of his German roots than anything, I think. Um, room here for both always. And then they kind of continued to have a conversation. Um, and and then this is the essential part that I was actually referencing, that I was wondering if you were going to mention. Um, because then she's like, um, Nan's the one who helped, and such a dear girl. I always knew that she had so much potential. I wonder how I could thank her. And Ted's like, make Tom leave her alone. And Rob's like, yes, he threats her like a mosquito. And Joe's like, yep, I'm gonna do it. That girl's career will not be hampered by a foolish boy's fancy. Because in a moment of weariness, she may give in. Wiser women have done so and regretted it all their lives. Nan shall earn her place first and prove that she can fill it. Then she may marry if she likes and can find a man worthy of her. But Mrs. Joe's help was not needed, for love and gratitude can work miracles, and when youth, beauty, accident, and photography are added, success is sure, as was proved in the case of the unsuspecting but too susceptible Thomas. Foreshadowing! I don't even know if that counts as foreshadowing at that point, so much as directly
So for the
stating.
next chapter.
I mean, it doesn't fully directly state exactly what will happen, but it's not just, hinting at it with symbolism. It's pretty well telling you, like, and this is gonna be a thing.
This will happen next. Yep.
Just don't know exactly how or exactly necessarily what all of it means. What do you guys think? What do you suspect that means will happen? I really don't remember, so I'm gonna speculate too, because
I have no idea. I'm honestly glad that last words wasn't somebody dying, to be honest. Because I was concerned that it might be. As many times as they put us through that ringer. Um,
Hmm. I wouldn't know.
I mean, obviously it has to do with Nan, because Joe's help was not needed with getting Tom to leave
Right.
Nan alone.
But does that mean that Tom moves on, or does that mean that Nan goes abroad so that it's like he's not there to bother her anymore? Um,
That,
there's so many things open.
yep, there are a lot of possibilities of how that might go.
Really, all
I don't know. J- We already had Lori not get his ideal woman because
yeah, my lovely Teddy Joe ship
yeah,
sank.
I was gonna
It
say
burned.
because they really wouldn't have worked well together, and then I was like, well, Karen thinks they would have. I don't think they would have.
It crashed and burned.
Um, but because of that, I kind of want to have I want to
Love.
have Nat's um
I
loyalty
love that and Daisy.
to
That and
Daisy.
Daisy are cute.
Yeah, I want to have Nat's loyalty to Daisy
I'm not so sure about
rewarded, but
Tom and
I
Nan.
don't know what to think with Tom and Nan because I I kind of like them. I like the idea of Tom's patience being rewarded and his loyalty being rewarded with the girl he's been crushing on for a decade. But at the same time, Nan is such a good picture of like
An independent woman.
she doesn't need a man. She can do what she was gonna do, and at that time in particular, that was much harder
Hmm.
and that much more
Yeah, but I feel
strength
like I feel like
required.
Tom wouldn't really like hinder that though. Like
What?
I feel like Tom would let her be her own woman. Like he wouldn't stop her from being who she is and being independent, whether or not she needs a man. You know.
I don't think he would stop her, but if she's married, there are certain expectations that would be put on her.
Like
I mean,
if
this is about the same time frame as Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and the reason that that show is set out west is because out west they needed doctors badly enough that they were less likely to care if they were men or women as long as they were capable of medical practice. But in the East, it was really hard for a woman to be able to set up a medical practice. And just the fact that Louisa May Alcott was writing this in that day is like super progressive. And so that I think that if she married, there'd be a lot more societal expectations of, you know, she's not even just supporting herself, now she's neglecting her family duties because she's not, barefoot in the kitchen. Um, Not literally barefoot, that would not have been acceptable at the time, but you know what I mean. Um, I mean, even in the early 1900s, it was still um part of like school teacher codes of conduct or rules for teachers that they were only allowed to be a teacher if they weren't married yet, and once they married, they had to leave teaching and go take care of their family from home. So, how much more for a profession that was not typically done by a woman like a doctor?
Mm.
So, whether he is supporting her in it or not, society's not going to support her in it. And is not going to support him supporting her either. But it does say that youth, beauty, accident, and photography are involved. And I no idea how photography has anything to do with any of this. So that's going to be interesting to find out.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I can thread this needle. But I can thread the needle.
You struggling over there, Karen?
I'm going cross-eyed over here. Could be because I'm not wearing my glasses. Could be because I'm tired. Could be 1,000. Ooh, pretty.
They drop it. It was fully filled in here. I've been like filing this to be able to actually um have her legs have their own shapes.
All right, I think I've officially sorted all the earrings that I possess that I currently have mates for.
What, your earrings are possessed?
That I possess.
I'm just kidding.
Cold. Okay.
I'm not cold, but I'm struggling to stay awake over here. And then
Yeah, I was struggling to stay awake while I was doing my reading earlier. And then I was like, if I fall asleep, I'm gonna still be asleep when I'm supposed to be starting that Zoom call.
Yeah.
This one, I haven't finished filing it down yet, but it was the hardest for me to figure out because it's just one of 3 dragons in a um little like tray of a silicone tray of molds. There are 3 different dragons in it. And this is a dragon wrapped around a cross. And it was really, really hard because it so easily ends up with these spaces all filling in. It was really hard for me to figure out what was what for a long time, the first couple times that I made them.
I bet.
Oops. So, all that, and then we finished early.
Yeah.
yeah.
We still got 15 minutes. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
I mean, I've been like obsessively watching The Equalizer.
That's on my to watch list. But I've been watching other stuff, so it's still sitting there.
I mean,
Well,
if I may make a suggestion, stop watching other stuff and watch The Equalizer. So good.
so business wise, I am as I don't know if anybody knows, but a lot of my traffic was through TikTok,
Mhm.
and so with the ban going through but temporarily not through.
But then gonna
Um,
be, but yeah,
but
it's weird.
anyways, I am moving back towards Facebook, and hopefully next month I'm gonna take the rest of this month to try and get my shop together around physically together around my room here. And hopefully start doing my Facebook lives again in February. And I do also want to talk to someone that can help me about making my business a nonprofit, because I keep saying things if I win the lottery, this is what I'll do. And one of the big things I keep saying is my business will be nonprofit. I'll have 12 different charities that I donate to, one for every specific month. Um, and then I got thinking about it. I'm like, why do I have to wait until I do something that may never happen when I can already volunteer my time, just not on such a grander scale as I imagine.
Yeah.
Um, and I can still donate to those charities and make a difference now.
Love that.
So I'm still working on finding 12 charities. I have 4 or 5 that I know I'm gonna do, but I'm still looking into figuring out the other ones. And you know, that way I have specific ones planned already ahead of time in advance. And I'm still gonna do my monthly giveaway, but all the money is gonna be like, instead of a free giveaway, it's gonna be like a $5 entry fee, and all of that will go to whatever charity it is that month. Um,
Other raffle tickets.
right. And I can't say all proceeds because being the poor person that I am, I cannot afford the materials on my salary.
Well,
So,
all
so it would be
proceeds,
profits.
yeah,
Yeah.
all profit is technically whatever is beyond the cost of the materials.
Exactly. So it's not all proceeds, it's all profits.
Yeah.
That's the distinction I was trying to make.
Yep.
Um, I can't do all proceeds because I'm too broke to buy the yarn out of my current salary. So, um, but I am excited to do that and move on with my shop and hopefully do some good out there. So that's an
Yeah,
update on my shop.
uh, my shop is, as you guys know, I really haven't done mine over the last year and a half. Especially with my dog. He's been the main focus of why I haven't really been able to do a lot. Update, sad note, my dog passed away on Tuesday last week. So now I'm going to be working on getting my office resettled, reorganized, because it's a huge mess in here, guys. You guys don't see it. It's a mess. So I'm taking some days off next month. I'm reorganizing and redoing my office and getting everything together, taking inventory. So I'm thinking maybe March. March I'll have my shop up and running
Cool.
again.
Well, my husband's going to look at my website tonight and over the next couple nights, because his sleep schedule gets so wonky, it's hard for us to do it together, but he's going to try to see if he can figure out what's going wrong with the shipping so that we can, once we can get that all situated and ordering on the website functioning properly, then I can list some more things I don't have on there yet, including the soap eggs, and the resin pieces that I'm making. And my business partner's candles that we still don't have actually listed on the website because I've been trying to make sure people can actually order before I work on adding more things incorrectly or whatever. Want to make sure we're adding them correctly. So
Well, if you
that
need
is
a test
our
person to
biggest thing
test
right now.
your shipping, let me know.
What?
If you need like a test person to test your shipping, let me know.
Thank you. I might. I will let you know if I do. And Lisa, you weren't here yet, I think, when I was showing my boots that I finished.
Oh, you finished them. Those are so pretty. I like that they're not exactly the same. I
Nope,
love that.
they're different. They go together, but they are not. They're matchy matchy in that they are a pair, but they're not matchy matchy in being symmetrical.
I like that.
Me too. I like to do that with earrings sometimes. So um, like sometimes I might do earrings like this.
Oh yeah.
And then
Well,
other times it'd be like two of the same because some people like to have them the same, but some people like to have
I
the
have matchy but not matchy earrings.
yeah.
See, matchy matchy, sun and moon.
I'm the weirdo that wears one long dangly that's slightly some different color than one like stud.
My
Yeah.
sister's spouse wears um has multiple holes and wears a different earring in each hole. Never wears two at the same time that exactly match because they like having the variety.
That's cool.
That's what I do with socks.
Yep.
I like to have fun socks and I'm always like, if I have fun socks and then I wear like one pair of Snoopy socks, then I just have Snoopy. But if I wear a Snoopy snock, wow, a Snoopy sock on one foot and a Doctor Who sock on the other foot, then I get Snoopy and Doctor Who at the same time. And also, I don't like to, waste time matching socks, but like even if I have both socks, I'll be like, no, I don't want to wear both of those. They match. I want something that's like so I can have the other one.
See, I'm the kind of person who I have 3 colors of socks because that's the pack they come in: pink, gray, and white. And I have a lefty and a righty sock. I have to make sure that I have the same color and a lefty and a righty. And how can you tell they're lefty or righty? I can tell.
I believe you. Ow.
I don't like L and R on them. No, I actually can tell by looking at the toe shape. And I have to have a lefty and a righty.
I used to just buy Mate socks.
Yeah.
Just literally packs of 12 of random socks. None of them matched. But now I just buy plain white ones because I'm boring.
At this point, my children and I have the same size feet for, at least another few minutes. Um, my oldest is now an inch taller than me, and his feet are not going to be the same size as mine for much longer.
No.
But we ended up just I'm sitting there like I don't even know how to sort these socks anymore. Like we are a family of geeks and nerds and fandom me people, and the boys have socks that have um Minecraft and Sonic, and I also have some Minecraft socks, and I think we both have pairs of Star Wars socks, and I have Marvel socks, but they have like different Marvel socks. We just gave up. We were like, they're all going in one drawer in the chest at the top of the stairs between our bedrooms. We can just all go grab our socks in there. My husband, he has his own socks, but he also wears completely different style of socks than we do. But
Style and size, different socks.
so when you guys were preparing for tonight, did anybody think we'd be spending 5 minutes talking about socks?
Nope, did
No,
not.
no.
I honestly thought we'd talk more about the conversations in chapter 6 because they intrigued me. But we covered them really well, really quickly. So I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean,
Um,
they were fine, but they just didn't seem like a lot to discuss to me.
yeah,
If you have any more you want to say on them, you're welcome to.
not that I remember. That's the problem. Like I had stuff that I related to and I wanted to talk about, and then I'm just like, nope, it's gone.
I wanted to work on this, but I don't have anything to put my glue on. My other fairy nook came in. Remember, I told you guys I wanted to work on my fairy book last time. It has come in. I've got some pieces I can show you for the last 5 minutes. Mostly it's been gluing the window pieces together. Oof. This one's got on it.
That's cool.
This one has a lot more glue and a lot less connector pieces. Literally all glue. There's several layers of glue here. This one was the only thing I didn't glue, and I feel like I'm gonna have to because it keeps falling apart.
Oh
As you see, it just fell apart. It's the only thing I've seen that snaps together and it keeps falling apart. So I think I'm
no.
gonna have
Do
to
it
glue it.
anyway. Oh, cool.
Just so many windows.
It does seem like a lot of windows.
And there's this balcony piece, which I got to reglue
Ooh.
one of the banisters to.
Uh,
Yeah, fell off. We've got another banister
mm.
and a third banister. A random coat rack.
Not a coat rack that belongs to anyone, it's just a random one.
Some stairs.
Nice.
Oh no, they fell out. A treasure chest.
Nice.
Couple more windows. And the last thing I made was this little stand with a little.
Ah, that's cool.
I still have more to make. So it's so
You-
weird. The other one had me make a few things and then glue it to the wall, and then a few things and glue it to the bottom, and a thing to the other wall. This one, it's making me make everything, and then glue it all together at once.
That could be the quality of the kit too. Like, I don't know
It's a
which one.
different brand.
Better quality.
Not
It's a
not necessarily better. For example, I recently bought a latch hook set. I mean, a latch hook kit. And it didn't come with like, it basically said use the paint on the canvas to determine what color to use, and it wasn't even level, like it slants down, and it didn't come with a latch hook. Now, growing up, I had latch hook kits that came with a latch hook, and in the instructions, it had a square by square diagram of what color went where.
Yes. Those are the only latch hook kits I've ever had.
So I'm like, this one, I don't know if it's just a cheap kit or if this is how they're making them now, but the quality is eh.
Or if it's like somehow more advanced, like we assume that you're advanced enough to have this ability yourself.
Exactly, like maybe an intermediate kind of thing.
This one also
Um,
comes with a little wooden barrel and a screwdriver with screws.
oh,
Because
geez.
apparently it plays music.
Oh, nice. I, do you guys want to see my absolute favorite Christmas present that I got this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, I think you've seen it, Caroline, because I posted it on Facebook. But I know Karen's seen it because she's here when I opened it. I want to show you guys. If I can. There we go. Don't look at the mess. There we go.
Yeah, I remember it.
I hadn't seen that. I must have missed that post.
It's a painting of a picture of them.
Yeah,
Yes, it is
that I
a
gathered.
water.
I love it.
It is a water color painting, and it's me and my fiance's favorite picture of us, and it's got 2 dates on it, as well as our names. The 2 dates are the date we started dating and what he considers the end of our date, that me becoming his ex-girlfriend. It's the day he proposed. So he calls me his ex-girlfriend. It's funny. It's cute.
It's cute.
You're
Yeah,
so
So
this is
cute.
stuff on Lisa.
and it's got our
In the best way.
entire, yeah, it's got our entire dating part of our relationship, like beginning and end, and then into fiance. But like it's got the start and end date of girlfriend and boyfriend. Uh, I thought it was really cute. So
This
that yeah, that was
there's
my
this
favorite Christmas gift.
that reminds me of this couple at my church. I've known them for years. I actually knew them before I started going to church there, but I mean, they're grandparents. Like they've been married forever. And he still likes to refer to her as his first wife.
Hey, you
This is
didn't
my
say there was
favorite.
gonna
Not
be a second.
incorrect. You are, in fact, the first wife I've ever had. Hopefully, also the last.
It's not incorrect.
Reminds him of his first wife. He didn't say he had a second.
Nathan, your hair just became poofy. What happened?
I took it out of its pony loop.
Fun. Okay.
Yeah.
you took it out.
Yeah, I just unlooped it so it
To show
became
you
poofy.
guys, and amongst the other resin stuff I've been doing, the stuff for jewelry, I've also been making a couple more of the jars.
Oh, those are
Ooh.
pretty.
I've
The
got.
cover's fitting nicely because I've always worried about that with resin, making the jars with.
I wondered when I first got this, but I've never had an issue with it. The only issue that I had the first time I made one for the jar that I kept for myself, it got stuck together, because I put it
Oh,
on too soon, because
Oh, when it's still
it
curing.
wasn't cured enough when I put it on. But I haven't had that issue again. I love the way that the top came out in this one.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
I think you can take them out of the mold after 24 hours, but you really shouldn't stick them together until at least 48.
Yeah. the first time that I made one of these was one of the first resin things I ever made, so I didn't know that
Oh.
yet. I know that now.
Now you know that. Experienced resin user.
It took me about a year of fiddling with it off and on before I finally managed to like pry it open enough to be able to open and close it, that first one that I made. But
Nice.
I still have it. I moved. I did manage to eventually get it functioning,
Yay!
and now it's filled with other pieces of resin.
Yay! Yay! Resin jar holding resin.
We managed to find
Mm.
stuff to talk about. Not that we usually struggle with that. But that is the end. So we will see everybody on February 4th to discuss chapters 8 and 9. Chapter 8, Josie plays mermaid. I'm excited to see what that is. But in the meantime, everyone say bye.